blind pick for Bwipo if they don't want to. He's been doing super fine with the blind pick, but we'll see. Like you're saying, if they change up either their bans to deal with this Urgot, or if Aji actually wants to, try a different matchup here.
Actually has a few different options. Did play a lot of Udyr in the PCS.
Oh yeah,
also
a lot
plays
of Udyr.
Yeah, the Rumble, the Aatrox. Maybe we'll see one of those played into it. The Lucian instead banned away by PSG here, so making sure that we don't see that early lane swapping to move down back towards bot level 3. Talia taken away by FlyQuest. Something we've seen Jensen on every game so far.
Yeah, Jensen definitely has been feeling some pain in this series. Pretty heavily targeted here. All right, so PSG, we're going to whittle it down to here then. Do we want to go...
Kalista first pick maybe? With the Lucian banned away, you think you can get a better
I really like when Woody is on engage for them, like the Nautilus, the Alistars for him, but they're going to immediately slam the Kalista here again for Betty. That doesn't lock them into like a Renata or an Ashe pairing with it to go full, double range, super aggressive.
The Kalista Nautilus is still very powerful. Something Kalista Alistar as well can work really well.
I think that would be a better route for them.
Yeah. We'll see if that's where they go. Even Kalista Rakan actually can work pretty well. There's the Varus though, locked in for Masu. I believe it was his most played across the course of the LCS. It was with 7 games. I wonder if FlyQuest will look to support here alongside it. Varus Nautilus, very, very powerful combination if you want it. Could also go towards mid lane if Jensen just wants to get something safe. Could get the Azir himself.
Oh, there we go. Talk about Jensen champions.
There we go.
We're about the OG, the Jensen Orianna, the most comfortable of comfort picks for him. So if anything is going to allow him to bounce back from that previous game, it definitely will be that. What's going to be Maple's answer then? Because I assume we're going to get mid lane support lock in here probably for PSG. What does Maple feel comfortable running into this Orianna?
Karma mid, not something we see too often anymore. Will be locked in. I expect it to be mid lane. Woody hasn't played it at all, whereas Maple has brought it out a couple of times. Obviously, can get you push into the Orianna, especially in the early game.
Yeah, I guess they could keep the flex open right now if they wanted to go jungle instead.
Yeah.
And keep jungle here, but especially if you go Xin Zhao and you're like, Jinjia Xin Zhao, slam that thing. I want a mid lane Karma to be able to play off of. I think that is going to be a classic for Jinjia.
It just facilitates the engages and invades as well so easily. You have Maple, Jinjia running in, he has the CC, he has the gap closed, and then Maple there just to follow up with the Inspire Shield, with the Mantra in a Flame. There's the Nautilus locked in for FlyQuest. We talked about it. It's very strong alongside the Varus, and the point-and-click depth charge just makes Nautilus always a good support. No matter what you're playing into, unless you're trying to play double scaling, you want like a Lulu or something, Nautilus will always give you something as the game goes on.
All right, so since they did drop their support pick here, assuming that Karma is going mid, then they're going to have to take some bans for Woody. But honestly, I kind of, like I said, I would rather have Woody on the more engaged, focused side of it. There's the Urgot, though. The respect given to Bwipo, especially because they are on red side and will be able to save that final pick.
They've also already got their jungler, so I don't need to worry too much about trying to... I mean, they can try and pinch Inspire's pool, but Inspire just has a lot of options anyway, right? So you know you have Xin, you know you have a good matchup into most of the junglers that are still available. Renata banned away by FlyQuest. They will also team that up with a Rumble away from Azure. Not seeing too much Rumble support anymore these days. Well, note the Karma could still be a flex. We really don't expect it to be, but just in case it does happen, keep your mind aware of that possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially since Inspired has just gone tank junglers anyways. When you were going over like threats like, yeah, he could whip out his Viego if he wanted to, but I don't think that's going to be...
Especially with an Orianna and a Varus. Like, you want someone that has team fight zone control.
Yeah, definitely probably, Sejuani angle type of thing for them. So Twisted Fate also taken off of the list here, even with the preference for lane swapping early that we have seen. They don't want to have to deal with the range top laners from Bwipo's counter pick either.
Will be the Sejuani that you mentioned, Kobe. Good prediction on that. Not really too surprising. I would love to see Woody's Rakan. I think he's actually very good at the champion, and the ability to dash in and out alongside the Kalista can do work, but something a little bit tankier, maybe a probability into the Nautilus and the Varus, because if you are ever caught by them as Rakan, you do get burst down very quickly. Instead, they might look to top first here with the Cassante hover.
Bwipo has more counter picks than just Urgot as well,
Yeah,
that he's
true.
very confident in carrying with. And if he is coming off that last game, he's going to be, filled with confidence, of course. Like massive carry. Like we could see, Olaf type of pick from Bwipo here as well. Especially since they do have that Orianna mid lane. It's just such a versatile champ with the utility of the speed and the shield as well, and having the synergies with Sejuani as your jungler. Have some very good 2v2s. So we do get the rel lock in for Woody, so I'm satisfied. Woody on the engaged champ down there with the Kalista, and a little bit of extra safety too. Always super nice. Plus, they've got Jinjia on his Xin Zhao, with the extra support from Karma there from Maple. So I think PSG pretty comfortable as far as this draft. And
there we are.
I know me some Bwipo, man. I know me some Bwipo. Let's go.
Something about European-based top laner, European-born top laners, and Olaf top as an answer to things. It's Adam and Bwipo just like, this is what we do. We slam the gods as often as we can.
Especially after coming off of a massive carry game, I'm like, there's no way he's not going to play.
You got the confidence, man. You got to give him credit for it.
It's also so good with, Sejuani. I feel like a lot of the early picks here for FlyQuest kind of telling. So definitely, it feels like both teams would be pretty satisfied with what they got. I think that the kind of advantage there of the red side did pull a lot for FlyQuest, especially because they didn't really get hurt by their early picks. Jensen got his favorite pick of all time.
Especially getting the counter matchup for the player that has been beating his lane most consistently as well. Like Bwipo in both games has consistently been ahead of Azure, whether that's through optimizing the lane swaps or whether that's just being better in the 1v1. Bwipo has had Azure's number, and if you can give him the Olaf, and if you can start to get ahead of this Cassante, he will roll through this game.
Yeah, I think if PSG win this one, though, it is going to be some kind of highlight reel from Jinjia.
Oh, it's got to be.
He definitely has done it for them before on the Xin. That's going to be what they're looking to facilitate this time around as well. Let's get into it. The decisive game number 3 for our first series here at MSI.
And for that spot in the upper bracket, playing up against T1 or Estral Esports. And a loser going through to our lower bracket, playing against the loser of the next series. On to Summoner's Rift we go. North America probably waking up around now. Was hoping for a 2-0, wake up to see everything on a knife edge as we get into game 3.
All right, let's see about some level 1s then, if anyone starts to go aggressive, because whenever you have, Olaf, especially with Sejuani type of thing, and a hook champion on your team too, there's possibilities of cooking. Does not appear to be any cooking going on, though.
The possibility of a cooking. You've got the frying pan out, there's oil on the side. It's like, oh, are we going to cook? It's a possibility.
I mean, Woody could jump in there. Rel's got, okay. Okay, Busio, I've been nervous around Busio so far this series.
There's a tentative fry-up happening right now.
Okay, he gets a little visual confirmation, though.
I'm just stuck thinking of different ways of saying possible cooking now in my head. Yeah. the whiff of a bake.
The whiff of a bake. Okay. the scent comes wafting in through the window or something.
Is that actually a cake being baked? It might be. It's a possibility that it's being cooked.
All right. Well, it looks like it's going to be our first standard setup here of the series. Bwipo. Now this. Yeah. Every jungler has become very well accustomed to the annoying top laners always coming in, invading them. Things like the Olaf, or when they do Quinn counter picks and stuff like that. It's so annoying if you're starting on your blue side, and Bwipo does go in for the kind of invade there and gets that all-important ward down on the blue buff, plus a little bit of chunk damage onto Aji early on.
Inspired was spotted on the ward placed by his Razor Beaks as well, though, so Inspired's general position on the map will be known by PSG. Not as much as Jinjia's is known, because he's just directly on a ward as he clears away that blue. Wave in the top lane for Bwipo, pretty good position. Mid lane just even as well. Woody and Betty were able to get a good trade early on in this bot lane, and because of that, Busio and Masu accept they're not going to get level 2 first, just back away, let the wave push into you.
I just want to really hit home the importance again of that invade and of that ward, especially when you're in this matchup like Bwipo, and you can see him on screen right now too. His forward positioning against Aji here, slowly building away. If he's slow pushing it, you need to know that enemy jungle is pathing away for you.
Yeah.
And so he guarantees that information by going for his level 1, And bonus, he got some chunk damage onto Aji, which was very nice before going to lane. But really critical that he knows for sure Jinjia is pathing away from him because, again, Jinjia has been so big, at blowing open games, and you don't want a Xin with an early lead and a Karma mid facilitating him running around early game snowballing. So nice stuff there. It allows Bwipo to build up his slow push on the Olaf. You can see he's going to have a big crashing wave up on top side very shortly. Going to help him really make the most of some of these early advantages. And he's a really big fan of 2-item Olaf coming in and taking over team fights. So
I'm sure most of the NA fans are a big fan of 2-item Olaf coming in and taking team fights as well.
Especially right
hoping
now.
for it in this game. Interesting parting by Inspired. He actually went down to his Gromp and Blue and then went back up to the Wolves in case Jinjia was looking for an invade with the push that Betty and Woody had. Now he parts back round towards this bottom side. You can see Jinjia steps in after doing his full clear.
Nice read.
It's really good read. Really good read.
Inspired here. Hovering around. There they go. On the ward. Takes the crab.
But Jinjia on vision once again, and that's exactly where FlyQuest want him to be. Ward placed as well by Jensen up towards the top side Scuttle Crab, so in case Jinjia decides to reset and go for that, they'll know where he is. Jinjia steps in. Reaction by Busio, Inspired. Stops his speed, Busio hooks the wall. Still, Jinjia's going to get across the wall. Double flash out from FlyQuest as well as they look for more, and Jinjia falls for first blood. The hook on the wall answered by Busio flashing for the root.
Honestly, Busio's been supplying some nice comic relief in this series. They still get the kill.
That wall deserved it, okay?
They still get the kill, and he didn't flash into this one.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And honestly, though, still getting the kill and getting the kill credit onto Masu here.
But Busio has no flash now. He's locked up, stunned up, and rooted by the PSG bot lane. Woody falling low. Red buff on Masu. Masu still has the flash to get away. He can even keep trading on here. That's very good if you can land that arrow. Betty forced away. Masu with his second kill of the game.
Yeah. Fully stacked lethal tempo with your minion wave with your double buffs.
Yeah, pretty strong.
That is a little terrifying. Don't want to continue that trade. And going for the 1-for-1 there, Busio, after he was committed and in, making a good use of the aftershock. Meanwhile, top side, both junglers finishing up here is just going to be the recall for Jinjia. And Inspired finishes up his recall as well.
Good start again for the FlyQuest bot lane 2-0 on Masu. Bwipo stepping across here.
Canceled his.
Bwipo pops the ghost, and Woody comes in time to land the knocker, but look for the Q3 as well from the 3-time spike. Knocked back. Aja with the Pathmaker able to kill off the FlyQuest top. Hex flash from Busio behind the wall here. Maple does have a flash of his own. Woody's coming in from the top side. Don't chase. Don't chase, says Kobe.
Object permanence is a lesson that will provide a lot of dividends when you're playing League of Legends. They know that their top side just got ganked by enemy support, so don't chase.
But I love playing peekaboo, Kobe.
Exactly. That timing window though, that was very smart for PSG. Jinjia cancels his recall just to go for this small timing window on the roam from Woody up, and Bwipo ventures into the river, so they got the perfect engage there. Just the edge of the Rel crash down, tagging Olaf. And Bwipo also used his ghost, so that is going to provide a lot of relief to Aji.
Yes, definitely is. Played his steel caps first for Masu in the bot lane. Just trying to survive through a Betty in the laning phase. Jinjia once again on the grubs. We've seen PSG be a much more grub-focused team rather than a dragon-focused team. FlyQuest will take the first of the game. The grubs for Jinjia, all three of them will go down. Honors even across the board between these two teams. 2 kills to 2. A neutral objective for a neutral objective. Gold basically even. A lead for Masu in the bot lane. Only 100 gold as well because of the extra CS that Betty has been able to pick up. Busio flashes. Good block by Woody, who can just dash away. Busio has the aftershock for now. Masu stepping in, continuing to trade. Good shot there with the piercing arrow.
Jinjia's coming straight from base right now, down as well, because he's got his Krugs up. So if they do another one of these little fights on bottom side, there's a control ward and tri-brush. He has options there. If it looks like it's going to be nothing, just do his normal clear. Krugs are up. Remain efficient there. Meanwhile, Inspired on the top side. Sejuani, #1 goal right now. Get that level 6. Finish up on his top side camps clear. Get his level 6 for the Sedge. And then you can start to make some moves here. Maybe give something to Bwipo. I know Bwipo talked about a lot too. He's super fine just farming up there on Olaf and scaling up. But they also have seen some pretty big benefits of getting him any extra resources.
If you can get him ahead, he can just take over this game, roll through the enemy. Ginger here has sneaked in. Inspired places the ward. Dash forward by Ginger with the wind becomes lightning. Can't quite find an extra bit of damage. Glacial Prison from Inspired just across the wall. Maybe didn't think he was on vision as Ginger had stepped around the corner. Busio was joining in as well and can follow up if that, even if the slow hits, you can follow up. Yeah. Shockwave into hook.
Exactly. Not going to hit though. Nice little size up there for Maple. The ward, the hero, as you mentioned.
It's also, like, there's nothing you're really fighting over, right? Inspired doesn't have to make a play in the next little while. There's no objectives to be fought over. So if you burn the Glacial Prison, it will be back up, assuming you don't get forced into a fight.
Yeah, I guess, like, clear your bottom side camps, then maybe make a return up up towards top side. Yeah. Now you have your Krugs into possible blip
top
play
gank,
if you
right?
want it.
Yeah. Although it is hard to gank a Cassante because of how much unstoppability he has with the Pathmaker. Even if you hit him with the stun, he's like,
he does. Is a champion that indexes very high into unstoppability.
Into annoying, I believe.
very high stat.
But hey, I hit you in a hook. No. Hey, I hit you with a depth charge. No. Hey, you're on this side of the wall. No, now we're both on the other side of the wall.
I mean, they could do one of your patented lane ganks or Inspired on bottom side. Masu has been so good as far as dealing with the pressure for rookie expectations on the international stage and having the early 2 kills here for the Varus. They definitely could go for one of those specialties on bottom sides, but your only camp up is Krugs. He returns right back out towards mid lane, actually, to make his move first.
Let's see where Inspired decides to have his
They know the control ward is here, too, because it does have that previous ping on it.
So he's going to place a control ward of his own, clear this out. Maple will look for a little bit of damage himself, but doesn't really know where Jensen is yet. So can't really stop that from being cleared out. Even if you put damage on Inspired, he doesn't really care. Just dashes over the wall at the end of it, right? So with Betty being pushed in, Woody has pathed up towards mid. Ginger's on his way down. The control ward that we saw from PSG earlier in the Tribush has been cleared out. Maple and Woody spotted on a ward as they path down towards this. Inspired immediately pathing away from his Krugs, coming down towards the bottom side, realizing that something might happen.
And with the pace that this game is going, with it being fairly close in gold, FlyQuest are going to be very happy. Like their comp scales super well into PSG's composition straight up because Olaf absolutely murders Xin.
Maple.
There we go.
Inspired shield. There's the shockwave as well. Maple locked up for the moment. Ginger on his way. Can Maple survive? Mentioned in a flame. Not enough to keep him alive as Inspired could be locked up here. Does still have the flash, and Ginger doesn't have the support of Woody yet. You can see Busio moving up from the bottom side as well, so it would have turned into a numbers advantage for FlyQuest again.
Inspired. Nice
good hook. Just to stop Woody from back.
Some fair supportal combat, some aftershock.
We got that upshot. What are you going to do?
Very, very exciting.
I love those 10 damage auto attacks afterwards.
Neither of the aftershock explode damages either because they just back off.
This is a really good Arctic Assault, by the way, across the wall to avoid the control ward.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The patience, too, from Inspired. Whenever you use it over, gets the perfect ultimate right onto Maple as he got close to this side. Circumvents the vision, as you pointed out, and nice deletion there. So all really going according to plan there for FlyQuest. As we're trying to kind of get into how the comps are going to interact on later. Obviously, a large part of Zin's ability to teamfight and survivability is in the damage negation of the ultimate. But if you're playing against a bruiser like Olaf, it will be right inside the range of your ultimate and can chew you up. So could get very dangerous and difficult later on for PSG if they let it continue to go this way for FlyQuest. But they did secure all 6 scrubs this time, so maybe PSG will be able to get some split pushing going, some side laning going or something, open it up that way before they can really crack this game.
They've also maneuvered their top and mid around the map. Hook gonna land here as Woody locked up for a second. Ginger dives onto Masu. TP in. There's the Magnet Storm. Counter TP as well by Maple behind Betty's Woody killed off Busio. Jensen trying to get away, but focus resolved from Maple will lock him up. Face call out as Woody escapes. Going back in. The Ragnarok from Britbo, keeping him alive for the moment. Not knocked up. All out from Azure as Betty continues to open up and comes by from the damage. Shockwave means that Azure will fall, and so far it's a 2-for-1 in favor of FlyQuest. PSG took the fight, but they lose 2. Couldn't quite find those blinking health bars from FlyQuest.
Yeah, FlyQuest too patient here. Get the best of them on both fronts, and PSG, even after the little chase down there, they're not able to get much. They do stop Jensen's recall, but he'll be fine picking up this minion wave.
I think it's a setup for the Drake, right? You want to make sure that Jensen hasn't had the tempo.
Jensen's got teleport,
yeah. You're 100% right. Not going to be able to set up for that Dragon. So yeah, great fight from FlyQuest, as you say. Patience, backed away, took it slow, and then landed that shockwave.
And look at Masu here, because we mentioned, getting inside Zin's range. Even as Busio hooks in and then he tries to disengage, Masu immediately will move right back in onto Jinjia, and they burst him down. He hits him with a Chains of the Corruption, right into the arrow. They burst him, and they get the early lead in the team fight. Then, even though they have to retreat when Flippo arrives and he pops his Ragnarok, they get close enough to the tower that Aji actually has to ult in, trying to use his Cassante ultimate. Definitely a bit of a blunder there, and gets assassinated as well. And just like that, it was 2 more quick kills racked up for Masu's Varus, and FlyQuest have built upon the early game lead here, plus have a lot of really good scaling options into fighting later. And Dragon number 2 for themselves. Busio, though, fishing around.
Yeah, Woody was just slow there on Busio, but inspired flashes. Crescent Guard out from Junja, has to burn the flash himself as well, and FlyQuest continue to find these incremental advantages, burning summoners, burning ultimates, making it really hard for PSG to find an advantageous fight. Maple pushing in here, will get a plate, but what is the collapse? Inspired spotted, Jensen already here has the shockwave, no flash for him, as Maple puts down the focus resolve to try and keep Jensen away. Good shockwave, right on the edge of it, is Inspired now joins the fray, no flash, remember, but all he needs is to ping that flail down. Jensen takes the kill.
Yeah, they've kind of cracked the game right now, FlyQuest. Once you get your extra pressure established on mid lane, even though Aji and Maple were both trying to split push there and they wanted to make use of the 6 grubs that we were talking about earlier, get a turret plate or 2, get some side lane pressure, it's easy rotation from FlyQuest. They get over and punish. Nice job there from Jensen once again, a patient shockwave from him. PSG will at least answer with the Rift Herald, of course, on your screen and pick that one up, but another one of the kills going the way of FlyQuest, and Jensen very happily eating up on bottom side as well. This is his most played of all-time champion. He is the most comfortable on it, got the early kills, stacking up towards his Seraph's Embrace pretty quickly in this game too, and both of the FlyQuest carriers here, Jensen and Masu, really eating well this game.
And it's great for them as well, because Bwipo didn't have that explosive early game, that massive lead that perhaps we expected from him with the counter pick Olaf. Obviously, later in the game, he can still do a lot of work, but if Bwipo hasn't got ahead, then it's great that Masu and Jensen have managed to develop these early leads so that when we get to team fights, they have triple threats rather than just Bwipo running in, not that healthy, maybe getting killed before he can even do too much work in a fight.
Yeah, I think we're going to see PSG have to take some risks pretty soon, because
which is not what they like to do a lot of the time.
Exactly. They're so much more of a standard team, but the pressure is on. When the pressure is on, you got to get more creative.
How do you get creative with this lineup? Masu stepping in, has the Night's Vow on him. Chain of Corruption immediately cleansed by Betty. Good use of that summoner, but the ultimate a much shorter cooldown for Masu. Busio stepping into this jungle. Inspired and Bwipo here to help. Jensen as well. Maple trying to get away. Bwipo running forward with the Ghost. Flash away by Maple. Depth charge going in. The Magnus Storm, but still Maple unable to escape this. He's locked up. FlyQuest get the kill. The tower short to follow afterwards as Masu in the mid lane defending against Junja and Betty, and with a TP invested, PSG can't go any further.
All right, they're also going to have a little bit of extra damage on top side turret with Aji getting up there. Even with the double Void Mites, though, just going to be a small dent.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not an Urgot. It's not something that really split pushes incredibly well. So all he can do is chip away at that tower. Jensen will take the turret in the bot lane, the first of the game for FlyQuest. TP behind Jensen here. Where are you going to go? They're looking for you. Jensen does have the flash, has a shockwave as well, with Woody on the chase, with Junji on his way in. I don't think Jensen has a hope in hell of escaping this one. Shockwave down, could stop, but still. Jensen knew he was done for, isn't going to invest any summoners. Shutdown going over to Azure, though. I think you would have wanted to wait that and give that to Junja. Would have been a much more powerful on the Jinzhao.
Yeah, definitely would have an ideal kind of comeback arc there for them, maybe. Meanwhile, it does actually cost you a little bit in the map. FlyQuest, they do kind of a similar response to what PSG just did in the previous play where they sent a bunch of people bottom. So this time around, FlyQuest are actually the ones getting the mid lane and top lane counter push after everybody goes and takes down Jensen. So it's going to be a bunch of traded towers here in the end, and PSG are getting some money, but as the map opens up, see if they can do anything with it. Teleports from both top laners have been used in their endeavors, and so we'll see if there's any sort of extra play here on Dragon setup. It's only 40 seconds out, so now is kind of your timing. If you want your wards, you better go back and get your control wards now.
Especially with the Hex Gates, you can take it like 4 or 5 seconds quicker on the recall, right? So you can just get out there.
Yeah.
Itemization though, Masu has the Blade of the Ruin King, complete a pickaxe and a recurve bow. Betty is wielding double bows and a sword right now with double recurve and the Blade of the Ruin King. FlyQuest in a slightly stronger position. I'd say it's still relatively even, as you can see the combat gold on the score. Average level about the same. It's only about a percentage of gold spent more for FlyQuest than there is for PSG. But in terms of how the teams operate in a fight, I would take FlyQuest's team composition over PSG's any day of the week.
PSG, though, they know it doesn't get better for them, so they're going to have to force now. They teleport in, and they're looking for something special.
I mean, the thing is, if FlyQuest they can just give this up if they want. They can wait. Instead, they TP Jensen into the mid lane. They want Soul Point, which is understandable, but they don't have to invest everything over this. Jensen will clear out in the mid wave. Ash just going to try and step forward, has the Inspire Shield on him. Whippo still has the Ragnarok, no Ghost. Flash is available with both the AD carries alongside those cleanses. Inspired knocked back, but the damage not really sticking on FlyQuest right now as PSG just poke and prod and look for something. Hook down. Have to wait for about 13 seconds for that one to be back up.
Some nice little poke here. Malignant's Karma. Maybe PSG can get some value out of the Malignant's Karma from Maple there. Got a little bit of double poke onto Whippo and Inspired, soften up the front line. They split as they push mid lane minion wave first, then move into...
It's so risky though, Busio caught out, but that Olaf's gonna chase into your backline. Busio falls low, flashes away. Whippo could go in with the Ragnarok, and what are you doing? You're just surrounded by FlyQuest. The Shockwave finds one as Maple falls. Azure tries to get the all-out out as Betty kills off Busio down towards the bottom side. Betty doing everything he can in this team fight to keep PSG in the game. Matsu has to flash away, and now Whippo is just sitting on Betty's face. Absolutely demolishes him, and FlyQuest win out the fight in the end. The Dragon low, Whippo will take it. Jensen there to join up, and FlyQuest get the Drake. They get 3 kills. Yes, PSG managed to pick up 3 of their own, but it's just not enough at this stage.
And now you've got some money flooding into that Olaf. You got a little preview there of what it might be like to play this Olaf into the PSG lineup. Whippo now popped his Ghost at his Shrine Breaker, running rampant there. PSG also lose out on the Dragon in the end too because of it. So here's another look at the engage, and they want to get an early lead in the health bar. They burst down Busio, but then towards the back, you mentioned it.
Whippo just walks in, you know?
Right on Maple. They immediately take care of the Karma, and then try and section it off here. Actually got some pretty good AoE damage off towards the Dragon, with Jinjia and Betty trying to take them down, but Betty got a little bit too close to the Viking, and Whip was able to finish off the rest of them.
Azure, fortunate that Jensen and Masu didn't have any mana bars at the end of that, and obviously ended up without any health, but FlyQuest very happy. They got the Hex Drake, they're on Soul Point, they are in a very strong position. As you said, Whippo now an extra layer of carry for this FlyQuest team.
Yeah, so even though kills pretty even there, the objective going the way of FlyQuest, and they do feel pretty comfortable about their next setup here. Whippo now has got his 2-item power spike with the Serix Gauge, and now mid lane.
By the Betty, no cleanse. Beautiful stuff from FlyQuest. They find their man and they send him packing into the dirt.
That's going to be Baron
Woody
for sure.
locked up as well, 6 feet under, joining his bot lane companion in the Baron in FlyQuest's eyes.
All right, they can start it up. Let's see, any kind of turn. They did use Shockwave, Nautilus ult, and Sedge ult. So Jinjia, he's not even going to go over there for a Miracle Steal this time around. He has no flash, so Xin really has no way of getting inside. That Miracle is going to be really hard unless he like snuck all the way around and got a W on there.
Into Audacious Charge maybe, but
they get their mid lane turret, and they just kind of have to be happy with that consolation prize and that little bit of extra gold. But FlyQuest, they've kind of made it to their dreamland now with this comp. They've got the Baron buff on top of it, and their team fight is massive.
In the perfect position to close out this game. Jensen on the Orianna as well. I think I saw 2 items at a half. He's 75% win rate all time on this Orianna. Very comfortable on the champ. Crescent Guard from Ginger. The TP coming in as well. With the Chain of Corruption that locked him up first. Jensen still on the chase. No more for FlyQuest, but you burn Junja's ult, so he can't really be that engaged tool that PSG would like him to be. And with the Red Bull Baron power play, FlyQuest just starting to push in. They'll take the mid lane tier 2. They'll path up towards the top side where they already have a wave stacked up. They've set up their lanes well to at least get 2 tier 2s out of this push, and they still have 2 minutes on the Baron as well.
Rotation over to top side, and the siege continues. Baron up the cannon minions, stay pretty safe here. Even a lot hiding in Fog of War, throw out a couple of arrows. No reason for them to overextend. Go back and spend your money first. Your teamfight just keeps on getting better and better and better there for FlyQuest, so they'll be happy to play it a little slower.
And Masu, I think, just got his Ginsu's Rage Blade alongside a BF sword, so he's very happy. Dragon, as you say, in a minute and a half will be sold for them. I think that's probably why they reset, because I think they had the health bars to continue a push on that tier 2, but making sure that you are in position to get mid-prio, to step into the jungle. They already have a bit of a vision line around where this red buff is, as you can see, perfectly demonstrated by observers.
Yeah. You mentioned a little earlier, too, PSG were always such a better team when it was more standard, and they have a bit more scaling options for later. So this is definitely not the type of situation that they want to be in, to have to fight themselves out of. Jensen is locked out of this fight, though. He has no teleport, so maybe PSG
force the play,
force something, but FlyQuest, they get right out of there.
It. That's really good from FlyQuest, just backing out. No, they don't need to take the play immediately. Jensen on his way out of base now. Maple looking for something, can't find the back line, so Whipper just eats a little bit of his HP bar. The Hex Soul, 30 seconds away from spawning for FlyQuest. Inspired steps in. Junja does have the Crescent Guard back up, hit with the Glacial Prison. Whipper going in with the Ragnarok, and he's starting to roll through this team. Junja has to flash away, Chain of Corruption. Only hits onto Azure. The Face Call brings Woody out. Shockwave lands on 2, though. Magna Storm in by Woody, immediately better locked up as well by Busio. And this is a perfect fight for FlyQuest. In front of them are just pinatas to be slapped to the ground. 2 kills to FlyQuest. The Dragon up in 7 seconds time. And not really anything PSG can do but stand and watch. He's going to get out. He TP's out. Does Inspired have out to consult? Nah, doesn't see him in time.
Oh,
Whippo lands the axe. And Junja will fall here. The Dragon will be next on the menu for Whippo and Inspired. You can see FlyQuest know they don't need their full complement to take it down. Instead, Master will push down bot. And you have to feel that unless something miraculous happens for our PCS #1 seed, it is all done in this best of 3.
Yep. Don't be too demoralized, though, PSG fans. This is not an elimination series. You still can run the lower side of the bracket. Double elimination here for play-ins. And let's take another look at how it started out again. Try and get some chunk damage onto Junji early. Whipple actually does get under a lot of threat early on and pops pretty early, the Sterix. So they turn around and then they kind of wait. And Jensen hits him with the Shockwave, the second layer of the engage. Busio and Masu are just right over the wall, right in there, off of it. And they know they've got plenty of firepower to run them down.
Just a lot of patience as well in the way they played it. Go in, take a step back, look for the Shockwave, go back. Busio also had a nice ult flash combo onto Betty to make sure he had no opportunity to move around in the fight.
Yeah.
So FlyQuest playing the team fights very well. And after game 1, I did wonder if they'd be able to match up PSG. And the team fights obviously here. They have a large enough lead that they are slapping them around with their wallets a little bit, but still.
Yeah, it is a lot easier to be calm when you're rich.
Yeah, it's true. True in life and true in League of Legends.
Yeah, you have less things to worry about, right? I guess. Just buy their way out of their problems.
I didn't realize I'd subscribed to like philosophical economic thoughts with Kobe, you know, it's a new podcast.
Neither did I. Dragon Soul picked up though as well.
It's easy to buy things if you have money, guys. It's easy to be calm if you're rich.
Well, they're going to get their reset off. You mentioned the Hex Gates too, makes it even quicker, and it's kind of easy from here on out to play it out since you do have also the trump card in side laning. Yeah. Oh yes, the double benefit. Teleports up on both side laners there for FlyQuest. Obviously the Olaf, very, very easy time for Whipple to push out bottom lane, while the rest of FlyQuest groups on up, and 40 seconds on Baron means...
I think it's just Inspired trying to find something. Woody stunned up. Just walk away from this. Inspired just seeing if he can get anything out of Woody. Jumps across the wall. FlyQuest were there to collapse if it had happened for a couple more seconds, but...
Should be the standard, though, 4-1. Just keep Whippo split pushing while you set up your vision control for Baron. then you can easily start up the Baron. You have really good turn off the Baron. I don't think that PSG are actually going to even risk that, and so you could probably just burn it down and take it while Bwipo plays a little safe in his split.
Things look pretty dim for PSG right now, both on the map and metaphorically when we look at the game.
What do you say? Do we roll the dice and just charge on in?
I mean, I think you have to, right? If it was an elimination game, I would be less willing to roll the dice. I'd probably play things a little bit more patiently. But as it's not an elimination game, Glacier Prison hitting onto Woody. There's the hook as well with the dredge line. Ragnarok onto the back line as immediately this Olaf begins to rip through them. Ginger able to survive though with the Crescent Guard. Abusi is going to be the first to fall to the fight. Good shockwave though means that Ginger goes down. Benny cleanses away, but he's caught out. And Maple chased out by Inspired and Masu. Only Maple stands tall, and that won't be happening for much longer. Laid horizontal in a casket by FlyQuest as they clean up the fight. Masu gets a triple kill, and they are just looking for the end.
Yep. Bwipo goes to yell at his minions, get them in line. Hurry. Hurry up, get over there so they can push, and they don't actually have the timing, so yeah. Baron first.
Should have yelled louder, I guess, to the minions.
They'll keep Jensen there so they can get two objectives at once. Jensen finish up mid lane here while the rest of the squad grab that Baron.
Well, credit to FlyQuest. We talked in Picks and Bans about how Ginger and Maple was like the key to this composition for PSG. If they could get them ahead, if they could get Ginger ahead and have that facilitator in the Karma behind, perhaps they could win this game. But look at those scorelines, like 0-5-7, 0-5-1. They have not had the opportunity to really accelerate through this game. And now FlyQuest with Baron buff, with Hex Soul, with an 11,000 gold lead, and with fights like this, should be able to close this one out.
Yeah, so they go immediately off the Baron to look for the turn as PSG were coming into face check. And you see the rundown here. Yeah, like, PSG didn't have a lot of options, so this is kind of what you have to go for.
Don't blame them for taking the fight, right?
Exactly. Your risk tolerance has to go way up when it gets difficult like this, but kind of easy for FlyQuest with the giant item advantages to run them down. Nicely done though. Snap turn off of it and making good on your turn.
And now pushing in the top lane, Masu and Bwipo. Well, looks like Inspire's the one who's just buffing up that mid lane. Jensen's going to make his way through the Hex Gate. Slightly mismatched timers on the resets there. Wonder if Jensen just completed that Rabadons, which is why he waited to reset. He's at 4 items and Maple is sitting not too pretty at only 2 right now. Bwipo and Masu comfortable enough to push up as a 3, knowing they're strong enough. They don't actually need the support of their mid laner to continue this advance. Inspire's matching Azure in the mid lane. It's Red Bull Baron power play already up to 2.5k-ish. Inspired now joins up with this team. The counter minion will chip away at this turret. FlyQuest can go back, and if they Baron buff the minions, they get quicker when they're near a turret, so you can like speed them up a little bit, but not as much as you used to be able to do as the Chain of Corruption goes down. Glacier Prison was invested as well, Junjo with the Crescent Guard, but really I think FlyQuest is just using these ultimates to get the chip damage on the tower, to get it low enough that they can step in with their health bars and with their wallets and take these inhibitors down. As you said earlier, Jensen took the mid lane inhib tower, so the mid lane inhib should be short to follow.
All right, 1 full minute left on the buff too. PSG
Woody
go.
has flash. I think Woody just goes. I think you flash W Magnet Storm. Or maybe you don't. It looked like he might. Ragnarok used. Woody trying to join Azure, inspired that front line. Ragnarok not doing too much with Bwipo right now as he just forces Azure away. As you say, 10 seconds on the Elder. The Baron, the Super Minions will start pushing in. But PSG have worked their way around here. Don't have vision. TP into the mid lane. Okay, they're looking for it. Azure has back though, so I don't know if Bwipo without Ragnarok will be able to actually clear out the base. Azure should be able to defend it. He has a TP of his own. Jensen could TP in as well. The minions in the bot lane pushing in. FlyQuest just trying to buy a bit of time here to allow that Olaf to rip through the turrets. He'll get another. Benny pathing down towards the bottom lane. Maple TP just walked his way back as Bwipo takes the turret. Maple getting chased out. Good knockback by Azure. The Elder Drake has been started though, and that's really what I want to see. Knockback by Azure again gets the shot down. The Elder Drake down to 5,000. Ginger with the Crescent Guard already used. Glacier Prison popped as well. The TP in, but Inspired smites the Elder as Woody dives in. There's 1. The shockwave lands on 2. Inspired doing everything he can alongside Masu. Masu will fall. It's 2v3. Inspired and Jensen try to do it all here, but Inspired falls low. Jensen finds another. Both Ginger and Maple almost beneath the execute. Another for Jensen. He gets a triple. Can he make it 4? He will. And with that, he TPs into the base to close out the series.
The Quadra and the Nexus for Jensen back on the international stage, and he's gonna finish the job.
It's a classic play. TP Olaf into the mid lane, take the bot lane, inhibit tower, fight around the Elder, take TP back, and then get the Quadra kill with the Elder, take the Nexus, win the series, and go through to the upper bracket of play-ins. Can't believe they fell for it, Kobe. We've seen this so many times.
Quite a classic, just like we drew it up. Honestly, such a fun series, though. You know, PSG coming out in game number 1 with some really, really good team fighting to take back control. FlyQuest showing a couple of looks at some lane swap options. And then Bwipo, really massive game from Bwipo, both on the Urgot and later a bit on the Olaf. I had to say, I am super, super impressed.
Masu, you're gonna say Masu? Yeah,
Masu.
you are.
I mean, you got to give rookies their credit when you know, it's international stage. There's so much pressure.
Yeah, they're great series. Like I think it's one of those. If you want to be nitpicky, you can say, oh, this positioning is not as good as it could be. He's not Viper. He's not Ruler. But for a first series on the international stage, when a lot of expectation and weight was put on him in the first 2 games, he played exceptionally well. I'd be very proud of Masu. As a FlyQuest fan. For PSG, obviously, not the result they wanted, but they do still have another series up against either T1 or Estral Esports later in the week to try and make it through to the next round of the bracket. And I think they showed us some good things. They showed us why people were expecting this to be a very close series between these 2 teams.
Yeah, definitely so, especially at team fighting game number 1. But Smiles here on the side of FlyQuest as they're able to get it in the end. I guess best of 3s, we don't, like, is that a reverse sweep? the best of 3s have reverse sweeps?
I guess, technically. Technically. I mean, you've got some stats at home. It's like NA is only ever reverse swept. But yeah, great stuff by FlyQuest, as you say. The next series up today is T1 versus Estral Esports. Yeah. As we round out this side of the bracket. Very excited to see that one. Obviously, T1 are heavy favorites, and we'll talk about that more when we get into the series. But for now, let's see, FlyQuest should be content, if not fully, I guess, happy but not fully content is what I'm looking for. There were some mistakes in the game. We saw them similarly in the LCS finals. There were some times perhaps a bit too over-eager to fight, perhaps not playing around the map as well as you could do, but still solid day 1 for them.
A lot of people are of the opinion that play-ins can be a buff, especially if you have rookies on your team, because you get a little bit of stage experience. As long as you do win your way through, you know, that
it's definitely a nerf if you lose.
Exactly. You have to add a little caveat. Losing in play-ins definitely not a buff, but you know, definitely does help out here, because now you get more tape to review.
And you get a feel for the stage and for the audience and for the crowd and such. It's like, we always talk about scrims and practice, and there's nothing that can match a stage game in front of a crowd, in front of an audience, and nothing that gives you that same vibe as those do. I believe we are getting ready for an interview pretty soon. I'll tell you who it is with as soon as we get there.
I can see a bunch of T1 fans flooding in already too. So
I wonder who's playing next.
Loading up T1